Your vet recommends it. The bag has a happy dog on it. The marketing says complete and balanced. And the first three ingredients are things you cannot even pronounce out loud without second-guessing yourself. So you trust the label. You trust the white coat. You go home, you pour the bowl, your dog eats it tail wagging, and you think you are doing right by them. But what if the ingredients inside that bag are quietly working against everything you are trying to build? What if vet recommended doesn't mean what you think it means? That's exactly what we're unpacking today. Look, nobody buys bad food on purpose. You're standing in that pet store aisle, scanning bags, trying to decode a wall of claims: premium protein, wholesome grains, veterinarian approved, and you are doing your best with the information you have. That's not a failure. That's just the gap between what the pet food industry wants you to believe and what's actually inside the bag. And here's the thing that makes this so frustrating. The problem isn't always the cheap generic brand on the bottom shelf. Sometimes, often, it is the expensive, well-marketed bag. The one your vet handed you a brochure for in the waiting room. The one with the phone number on the back and the research claim on the front. This video is going to walk you through the specific ingredients you need to start recognizing and avoiding, why they are in the food in the first place, and what they actually do inside your dog's body over time. Not to scare you, not to sell you something, but because once you understand how to read a label, really read it, you cannot unknow it. And that knowledge is going to change how you shop for your dog forever. We're going to start with the ingredient that shows up in more premium foods than you'd expect, and it is probably in your pantry right now. Let us start with the single most important thing to understand about dog food labels. Ingredients are listed by weight before processing. That sounds simple, but the implications are enormous. A bag that lists chicken as the first ingredient sounds great, until you realize that raw chicken is about 70% water. Once it is cooked down and that moisture is removed, that chicken shrinks dramatically in the final product. Meanwhile, the corn or wheat flour listed fourth or fifth, that's already dry. So by weight in the actual finished kibble, the grain might be dominating the protein. This is called ingredient splitting and moisture manipulation, and it is one of the most common ways labels mislead you. So let us go through the specific ingredients that should make you pause, and more importantly, why. Corn syrup and artificial sweeteners, yes. Corn syrup. In dog food. It's there to make the kibble more palatable, to get your dog hooked on the taste so they keep eating it regardless of the nutritional value underneath. But here's what it actually does. It spikes blood sugar, contributes to inflammation, and over time creates the kind of metabolic stress that shows up as weight gain, low energy, and in some cases, diabetes. Your dog cannot tell you they feel terrible. They just eat what you give them. If you see corn syrup, sugar, cane molasses, or any sweetener variant on a dog food label, that's a manufacturer telling you the food isn't palatable enough on its own merits. Meat and poultry byproducts, this one's more complicated, so stay with me. Byproducts aren't automatically evil. In a natural context, a dog eating a whole prey animal would consume organs, bones, and tissue. The issue is the word unnamed. When the label says meat byproducts or poultry byproducts, without specifying the animal source, you have no idea what you are actually feeding. It could be beaks, feet, feathers, diseased tissue material that failed inspection for human consumption. The named version, like chicken byproducts or beef liver, is a different conversation. But vague, unnamed byproducts are a quality control red flag wrapped in a protein claim. Short start here's something the pet food industry doesn't want you to think too hard about. When a bag says meat byproducts, without naming the animal, there is no legal requirement to tell you what animal that meat came from. It could be from multiple species. It could be material that was rejected from the human food chain. Your dog's body is processing something, but the label has legally protected itself from having to tell you exactly what that something is. Named proteins, chicken, salmon, beef, are a basic standard of transparency. If the bag will not meet that standard, ask yourself what else it is not telling you. Short-end BHA, BHT, and ethoxyquin, these are synthetic preservatives, and they are in more foods than most people realize, including some with premium price tags. BHA and BHT are petroleum-derived antioxidants that prevent fat from going rancid. They're effective. They're also listed as possible carcinogens by multiple international health organizations. Ethoxyquin is even more concerning. It was originally developed as a pesticide and rubber hardener before being repurposed as a food preservative. Some countries have banned or severely restricted it in pet food. The United States hasn't. So it is still there, and it is still legal, and it still shows up in bags sold next to the treat aisle at your local pet store. Natural preservatives, vitamin E listed as mixed tocopherols, vitamin C listed as ascorbic acid, exist and work. If a manufacturer is using BHA, BHT, or ethoxyquin instead, that's a cost decision, not a safety decision. Corn, wheat, and soy as primary fillers now. Carbohydrates in dog food aren't the enemy. Dogs can digest and utilize carbohydrates. The issue is when cheap, high-glycemic grains become the structural backbone of the food, while protein gets pushed down the ingredient list. Corn, wheat, and soy are inexpensive, calorie-dense, and they bind kibble together well. They're also common allergen sources. They spike blood sugar faster than complex carbohydrates, and they provide very little in terms of micronutrient density compared to what they displace. You'll also see them split to hide how dominant they are. Corn gluten meal, and corn flour are all corn. Listed separately, they each appear lower on the ingredient list than they would if combined. Combined, they might be the single largest ingredient in the bag. That's not a mistake. That's a strategy. Artificial colors, dyes, and flavor enhancers. Your dog does not care what color their food is. Red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, blue 2. These dyes are there entirely for you. To make the food look appealing, to make it look like it contains more meat than it does. Some of these dyes have been linked to hyperactivity and allergic reactions in sensitive animals. None of them add any nutritional value. 0. If a food contains artificial coloring, it is a signal that the manufacturer is prioritizing your perception of the food over your dog's actual experience of it. Flavor enhancers like Animal Digest, which is exactly what it sounds like, chemically processed animal material, are sprayed onto kibble to make it smell and taste appealing regardless of what the underlying nutrition actually looks like. It's the dog food equivalent of adding artificial flavoring to cardboard. Cellulose, aca powdered wood pulp. Some dog foods use cellulose as a fiber source. On paper, fiber sounds reasonable. In practice, cellulose in pet food often comes from wood pulp, literally processed wood fiber, added to bulk out the food and add fiber claims to the label. Your dog's digestive system gets almost no nutritional value from it. It passes through largely unchanged. It's filler in the most literal sense of the word, and it displaces ingredients that would actually serve a nutritional function. Now, about vet recommended, this is the part that tends to make people uncomfortable, and that's okay. It's worth sitting with. The phrase veterinarian recommended or vet approved is not a regulated claim. There is no independent body that audits it, no minimum standard it must meet, no list of vets who actually evaluated the formula. In many cases, it means a veterinary association accepted sponsorship from that brand. In some cases, it means the brand conducted its own feeding trials using its own protocols. In a small number of cases, it reflects genuine endorsement from practicing clinicians. But you have no way of knowing which category you are looking at from the bag alone. This doesn't mean every vet is wrong or that you should dismiss veterinary guidance entirely. Your vet knows your dog. They understand health conditions, life stage needs, and medical history in ways a YouTube video never will. But a vet recommending a brand in a waiting room is often a vet who received their nutrition training from a curriculum partially funded by pet food companies, and who is doing their best with the tools and information they were given. It's a system problem, not a people problem. Short start. Most vets receive very little formal nutrition training in veterinary school, sometimes as few as 1 or 2 courses across a 4-year program. And a significant portion of the nutrition education that does exist has historically been funded or developed in partnership with major pet food companies. That's not a conspiracy. It's a documented funding pattern. What it means practically is that my vet recommended this brand tells you your vet cares about your dog. It doesn't tell you that the formula was independently evaluated for ingredient quality. Those are 2 different things, and conflating them is how a lot of dogs end up eating something that doesn't serve them. Short end what to actually look for asterisk, so here's the flip side. Because you deserve a practical framework, not just a list of things to fear. First, named protein sources and the first 2 or 3 ingredients. Deboned chicken, salmon, beef, specific, identifiable, accountable. Second, named fat sources. Chicken fat is better than animal fat. Third, whole food carbohydrates if carbohydrates are present, sweet potato, brown rice, oats rather than corn, flour, and wheat middlings. Fourth, natural preservation, tocopherols, ascorbic acid. Fifth, a short, readable ingredient list where you recognize most of what you are seeing. You do not need to be a nutritionist. You need to be a reasonably skeptical reader. If you pick up a bag and the first thing you feel is confusion about what's actually in it, that confusion is telling you something real. The food industry, human and pet, is built on the assumption that you'll buy based on the front of the package. The ingredient list on the back is where the actual product lives. And once you start reading it, you'll notice how rarely the 2 match. If this video changed how you are thinking about what's in your dog's bowl, the most useful thing you can do right now is go get the bag out of your pantry and actually read the ingredient list. Not the front, the back. Look for the things we talked about: unnamed byproducts, artificial preservatives, dye listings, anything you genuinely cannot identify. That's your baseline. That's where this starts getting practical for your specific dog. And if you want to go deeper on this, the next video on this channel covers how to actually compare 2 bags side by side and what questions to ask when you are shopping, without feeling overwhelmed by the options. Your dog cannot advocate for themselves, but you can. Thanks for watching. If you loved this video, scan the QR code on the screen right now to subscribe and join the Pawsome Life family. Give your dog a belly rub for us, and we will see you in the next video.